I think that one of the reasons that many people don't become the best versions of themselves is because of the imperfections that they're afraid to show. And what an imperfection is basically something you might lack in, something that you might be trying to build or not doing well. I mean, there's so many examples of imperfections. Like right now, I'm actually in a park and just enjoying the view. And during my walk, I was seeing so many imperfections that I haven't even realized before, thinking about how to make this video. For example, like I was seeing like dirt on the roads and all these overgrown weeds and overgrown bushes. I was seeing a bunch of like twigs on the side and like the creek was dirty. And these are all examples of imperfections of nature. But yet, when I was walking, I didn't see anyone judge the nature. I didn't see anyone go out of their way to say, man, look at that ugly tree. Look at how overgrown that bush is. I didn't see any of that at all. They just kept walking around. They were biking. There were people running. There were people driving through the park. There's people, walking with each other, creating memories. They were not once judging, hey, like, this is imperfection. And why is that? Why is it that people are able to go walk around a park and they're not able to judge anything? They're not worried about the imperfections. They're not judging what the park doesn't have. They're just enjoying it in the moment and the reason that people aren't judging for what the park doesn't have, or really any park, is because it's real. Even though I've listed all these imperfections, I'm still I mean, people are walking around and they're feeling peace, they're feeling stillness, they're feeling calm, and there's just a moment to just clear their mind. And that's why they came here. And the reason I mention this is because so many of us, when we see our own imperfections, we bash ourselves so much to the point that we become so negative that we don't even want to keep going anymore. For example, like look, I can use many examples. Like when we train, let's say you trained for about a year and you still can't hit 225 pounds on bench press. And then we start bashing ourselves. I put in all this time, I put in all this effort, and I still can't even hit this weight. That negative energy affects that result. When we say, I can't do it, we start manifesting that outcome of never being able to hit 225. We start thinking, man, I'm really weak. I'm really, I'm not doing enough. I must be like underperforming. And when we start to think like that, we let these imperfections become a negative aspect of our life. And it's so common. I remember when I was at the gym one time, I was, watching other people, they're hitting like crazy weights. And even on social media, like I'm seeing people who are doing like, there's this one dude doing like one arm handstand playing geometry dash. I thought that was insane. But people who are trying to, chase views or chase virality, they're like, man, like I'll never be able to do that. Man, my content must suck because I can't do what he does. And they're using their own imperfections against them. Imperfections is how we grow as people. Like with my own story, like I wanted to start posting content when I was able to do a human flag. That's really when I wanted to start all of this. But then I got injured, and then I found out that I was going to have surgery and I couldn't walk for 6 weeks. So I realized at that moment, why don't I just start now? Why don't I just start when I'm at the most imperfect moment of my life? One of the most. I mean, I've had so many moments where I was lacking so much or was so confused about something or I didn't have certain attires. Like the reason I'm able to do handstands, it didn't just come to me overnight. I have, and I'll even show it here, I have failed so many times trying to do handstands. I've had bad form, I've fallen, there was even a point where I couldn't even kick up to the wall. But each time I came back and I looked at these imperfections that I said, and I said, how can I improve it? The reason that I love imperfections or I love seeing what I don't have or I love seeing like what I can improve, well, that actually just answers it. The reason I love imperfections so much is because that gives me a moment to say, hey, what can I do to improve? What can I do to grow as a person? What can I do to get better at this certain thing? And that's something that chess has taught me too. I can give so many examples. Like with chess, you don't get better by winning, you get better by losing. Chess has taught me how to organize my, organization, you know, hierarchy, planning out your day, planning out your attacks, visualizing what you want to happen, whether that's on the board, whether that's a goal you have. Chess has taught me these things. And in chess, what I classify as an imperfection is like blundering a piece, misevaluating something, and then going back and evaluating, okay, what could I have done differently? That's the key point to growing with imperfections. Because, without imperfections, we're not us. Like imperfections are, like I said in a previous video, imperfections are will make us who we are. And that's true. If, like look at me right now, like shoot, I can like do like a whole thing. I'm not even like having anything set up right now. So is this video like a bad video? No. It's imperfect. Like I'm not having a good camera angle, my hair's a mess, I got a little bit of a big nose. So what? Does that mean I'm less of a human being now? Does that mean that, oh wow, I must be ugly? Yet I'm still doing modeling. How is that possible? Because I'm not worried about trying to fix what I can't fix. I'm not trying to worry about, hey, I don't have this or this. But instead of thinking like that, because that's what imperfection does. Imperfection makes us want to have everything, makes us want to be this perfect person. And when we have this thinking, we actually lose ourselves in a way. Like there was a point, like a few years ago, I won't lie, I was struggling mentally. Like I was, I didn't have confidence. I didn't have, like the discipline that I have today. I didn't have the motivation. And the reason is because I was chasing perfectionism for such a long time. And when I switched that mentality of going from perfect to becoming the best me, that's when I really started to grow. And I think that's the biggest lesson of today's video is stop trying to become this perfect person and become you. Stop trying to become this perfect person and become you. And the reason, if we're trying to be this perfect person, are we really trying to be the best us? Are we really trying to become the best version that we can possibly be? Because even that best version doesn't have perfectionism. That best version of us is still going to have imperfections. That best version of us is still going to lack certain things. And you know what? That's okay, because that's the whole point of growth. Growth isn't supposed to be it isn't supposed to be a steep incline where everything is going well. You're going to have moments where you're going to crash, you're going to be like upset, you're going to be like chaotic, but at the end of the day, you're still growing because you're using your imperfections not against you, but as feedback to say, what can I do better?